Hello traders and welcome to the weekly outlook and setups volume 181. In this one we're gonna have a monthly outlook and setups because the monthly candle has closed. Welcome February, January has closed. Finally this awful month has closed, and let's hope we're gonna have some very clean markets in February. It's very important that we touch on the monthly time frame because it's very important where the market is positioned currently on the monthly, because that could potentially dictate where we could potentially go next. You know, the monthly time frame is very important. We as retail traders do not use time frames like monthly, quarterly, even weekly much, but those are of course very important to look at. Like, you have to check them out every week, but most importantly also every month. All right, as this is also a brand new month, you know that I run an initiative for the most loyal fanatics that are commenting on every video, that are liking every video, especially commenting. And across their names you get a heart badge once you have proven like to be a loyal commenter on the videos. And I give away access to my private program, to my private community as well, one-on-one sessions with me, everything that is included in my program. And for this month the winner is Paul. So thank you, Paul, for being such a loyal fanatic for such a long time, and this is my way to give back to you. Really looking forward to having you in the team and helping you excel with your trading. You've already been here enough, and right now it's time to see how we really do the things inside, right? I'm going to be publishing some videos in the upcoming weeks, right? February, definitely some educational. I'm running currently a series of videos, so make sure that you're subscribed and turn on the notification bell in order not to miss those. And if you already did, let's not waste any time and jump into the markets because we have a lot to cover. Alright, as always, we're gonna kickstart this analysis with the Dixie. Very important to start with the dollar index, see where it is, where it could potentially go. Before that, I want to touch on the fundamentals. This week was very busy, right? We have Bank of England, we had ECB, we had the Fed. I think last week we had CAT as well. Bank of Canada as well released their interest rate report. So let me jump on my other screen here on my favorite website for interest rates, for inflation as well. So what we can see is that United States hiked the rate by 25 basis points as expected. But what also Pavel mentioned is that they're going to have further hikes, right? So inflation, they say, has been kind of tamed overall, but of course it is still persisting. So they're going to keep hiking the rates, right? But they were kind of bullish, right? As they go in the fundamental sphere, hawkish, right? So apart from that, we had Europe hiking the rates by 50 basis points, which is pretty good. So they finally did that. We had Bank of England as well, right? 50 basis points coming to 4% right now, which is pretty good. And pretty much, yeah, you can see the Fed is, as usual, like the highest from those major currencies. The Aussie hasn't hiked anything yet, like since 2022. British, Canadian, 4.5%, right? They also got hiked on 25th of January, and Europe 3%. So pretty good. This is right now a little bit kind of a tough to read what is going to happen. We're going to translate this on the charts as well. We also had NFP. I didn't examine NFP way too much. I'm mainly focused on inflation right now. And if we jump here on inflation, you can see American inflation 6.45, which is pretty good, right? It was at 9% and right now 6.45. And as you can see, the English and the European are a little bit out of hand, right? So pretty much America is doing much better, which again, this can make people like go more into the US, maybe buy more dollars, maybe buy more stocks as well. But yeah, you can see it is still pretty high, right? On the overall kind of picture of things, it is a big push. Right now, we're just having a very slight pullback. So is it really going to get tamed and come back to normal? We don't know, right? And as I'm going to show you later in the stock market as well, it is a little bit funny what is happening right now. Next week, we don't have many news, right? So I really like next week. We don't have anything major except from interest rate for the Aussie. I don't trade the Aussie, but again, we are expecting a 25% basis points as well. So that's pretty good. Speech from Powell, very important. Wednesday, couple of Fed speeches right there. Thursday, nothing too much. And then Friday as well, nothing way too important, right? So I really like next week. So I'm definitely going to be trading next week. This week, I did not trade at all. I was traveling until Wednesday, and by the time I arrived home on Wednesday, the market was kind of already over with all the incoming news coming in, so I decided not to trade. So with the fundamental outlook kind of away, I first want to draw this range, right? Because this is the most recent monthly range on the Dixie, right? And as you can see, we are currently trading below the 50%, which is very important. And that is going to be like, if you have a monthly range like this holds a lot of importance, right? Because always the higher time frames are going to prevail than the lower ones. So right now, if the monthly time frame is below 50% and it's tapping like a zone on the left, which we don't really have a zone on the left, a lot of traders could start looking like for a break and retest like this, right? Very simple. We could start having some bullishness, right? And what I really love about it is the intraday price action, because it showed us some very nice manipulation. You can see 2 weeks of choppiness. We opened with a very huge wick to the downside, and right now we're closing very massively bullish. Like, look at the engulfing candle. So these kind of candles, guys, are very strong. When you have a wick to the downside, signifying like that the market pushed down, and then you have a bullish engulfing candle in the opposite direction, this means that you had a very huge engulf, right? And not only you have an engulfing candle, but you also have a rejection on the bottom. So those candles signify a lot of strength, right? So of course we can draw like a little supply level right there, which I don't usually do, and then dropping onto the daily time frame. Yeah, you can see like Monday bullishness, Tuesday went up. Very nice short on Wednesday. That was when we had the first news come out. I'm not sure what it was on that day. Then we have the second news come up, and then on Friday NFP, massive bullishness coming forward, right? And what I want you to take a look at is how corrective it was, right? So people that are looking at channels, they got broke out, right? So they looking for potentially for a retest. People that have their stop loss above are right now being stopped out, right? So really curious to see what is gonna happen going forward. But in terms of the daily time frame, we're having a daily structure up. So that's 4H, but we have a daily bullish alignment. And then going on to the 4H again, what did I tell you here? Massive consolidation, and this is like a manipulation on a very big macro scale. This is what usually happens on the 15, but right now it happens on the 40, right? Very big range. So we have been in this range since like the beginning of January. Range, massive manipulation down, making traders think that we're going down, right? The market just came back, couple of short sellers entered right there, and then a massive expansion up, attacking the upside liquidity as well. Okay, so currently, what can I say? Well, pretty much I'm gonna say that I'm bullish, because usually I just follow the most recent structure, and I really like this sort of manipulation. This to me is a very bullish signal. And yeah, currently I'm just gonna like take a nice higher low area right there, which is also a demand. Right now we are in a very big push phase, and this is usually what happens after NFP, is that you have a massive push. And usually kind of Monday, Tuesday are going to be a little bit tricky. And usually the analysis that you do on the weekend is also tricky, because what can you do right now? Nothing, right? It's just at the higher high. So you don't want to go long too much, because like, yeah, how would you go long on this, right? You also don't want to go short, because you just don't have a short setup, right? According to if you just trade market structure. So right now the key is to just wait. Right, to just wait. This is kind of looks like the first leg, so we can have like a little pullback, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, right? Then get into this supply, which is on the weekly time frame, and then we can expect like a bigger reaction to the downside. So I'm gonna say I'm bullish on the Dixie. I'm calling longs. We don't know how it's gonna play out, so I'm not gonna throw any precise forecasts, because again, we are at a higher high. So what I'm gonna be looking for is either for the market like to continue pushing up, and then I can follow it on the 15-minute, or for the market to make a pullback down to create a 4-hourly higher low, and then I'm gonna focus all in on getting into longs. So let's see if that current momentum is gonna go forward into February. Bullish dollar. Let's see how this one is gonna go, and let's see how the other pairs are responding to that. Monthly time frame on Euro USD pretty much looks like a flipped DXY chart, right? So if I just do this, it pretty much looks like the DXY, right? And on the DXY we have this bullish push. But on Euro USD, we have this bearish push, right? And both of them are above 50% right now, and pretty much the same monthly. No, this is already this month. Yeah, so I actually forgot to examine the previous month, but the previous month is not so important. Like, it's very nicely bullish. That's fine, right? It's just bullishness. But what I really think is important right now is to focus on what is gonna happen right now, right? So is it possible that this is a pullback, right? Pullback in order to later continue pushing higher? Definitely, right? Definitely. And we're only gonna know this on the lower time frames. But for now, I would say that again, Euro USD is above 50% on the monthly leg, which is pretty important. If we even go on and go to the 3 months, right? Yeah, this is just the push. This is currently the pullback. So I would expect some sales could be coming in anytime soon. Again, we don't want to go on the left and like start drawing this, start drawing this, right? Start drawing then this. Like, yeah, this is the last one that is currently being respected, but we just don't know, right? And this is actually the first zone that is above 50%, which is why we're probably getting a big reaction. But again, we also got a big reaction here. Reacted there, and then at the end of the day, still ended up pushing up, right? So don't focus too much on the left. Keep those areas in mind, but again, don't try to go like big time short from those regions. But again, very important to be aware where price is right now. It's above 50%. It's at a very strong weekly supply on the left, which we don't know how relevant it is from March 2022. So keep that in mind. And then dropping onto the daily time frame, which is what really makes me happy, is that we had this overall big choppiness right there. So a whole month of chop, right? No move. Like, look at those daily candles. Very, very small. Like, look at the previous ones. Nice impulsive candles. Here we had a big range as well. But right now we had like Wednesday, massive push into the zone. Thursday, rejected. And Friday is already coming in and making a daily shift of structure, right? So the daily right now is turning bearish in an overall kind of a weekly. The weekly is not really bearish because again, the weekly shifted here. And if I really ask, okay, where is my weekly higher low formation? Yeah, here we broke up and there we have a bearish candle. So it's either this or it's this, right? So slightly bit difficult to figure out the really recent structure on the weekly time frame. But in this case, we can use like the monthly and just say that overall the macro time frame is bearish, right? Daily structure is aligning bearish and then dropping onto the 40 time frame, right? So yeah, we were trading inside all of this mess. Don't get me wrong, there were setups, but very hard to catch, right? January was an overall losing month for me. I lost 0.70% on my live account. Yeah, it was pretty tough to trade. And again, hopefully we're gonna have some very clean trades in February. Really simply focusing on structure. Like, to me, this is where the trend change occurred on the 40 time frame. This is where the most recent supply is, right? And this is where potentially we can be looking for shorts. This, however, is it the valid range? Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, we have a bullish candle right there. Then we broke down, up. Yeah, slightly bit tricky, but this is really where I would be very interested to be looking for shorts if we pull back. Okay, so that's very simple on EU. I really like this spike into the highs, right, coming in very nicely inside this level above the 50%, but you can see we have been accumulating for quite a while in the 50%. All of this is kind of the 50%, right? And it gave us a couple of shifts, right? So we had a lower low right there, lower low right there, then we went up, then we went down. So there were quite a few traders that were tricked here, thinking we were going long, like here thinking we were going short, and it was just pure manipulation. So I'm actually confident to say that the manipulation is done, and right now the market could start offloading. And really, so if the BFIs right there, banks and financial institutions, have stacked their orders, have done the manipulation, then they're just gonna continue pushing the market down, right? So for next week, it will be really important to focus on trend continuation for me, right? Because if you go on the 15-minute, when you usually have some of those strong moves, the market does not pull back, right? It's gonna give you like a little pullback like this, right? So big push, little pullback, big push, little pullback, big push, right? So you're not gonna have like one of those clean, deep pullbacks, okay? So stay mindful of this. Let's see how it opens. What I would love to see at the beginning of the week is like at least a very little follow pullback. That is gonna make the 50-minute turn bullish. So then I can wait for the 50-minute to turn bearish, and then I can start following the trend to the downside. So let's see, this is my outlook on EU. Very nice, very simple, looking for shorts. Let's hope we get some shorts. Again, this week I did not take any trades. Hopefully next week we can have some bangers. Jumping onto Euro Yen, you're gonna see this week the yen pairs are a little bit funky, so they did not move a lot. So let's try to break them down. Again, on the monthly time frame, we're having a bullish market, and currently, especially Euro Yen, tapped last month into a very nice demand zone. It's not entirely valid demand zone, but it's pretty much where the higher low is, right? We created a pullback that is more than 50%, right? If you actually pull out the normal FIP, we went around 61.8705, which is kind of the golden mean, right? So it looks pretty good for it to continue pushing up. However, is like the euro, for example, which is currently turning bearish, gonna allow this? Well, it's gonna be tough, right? This is why I do not trade JPYs, because again, they're too much dependent on USD JPY and on their main pair, like for example, Euro USD, right? As you can see right there, going on to the weekly time frame, sure, the monthly is bullish, but the weekly has been an absolute mess for around 6 weeks right now, or 5, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks of not much of a movement, right? So I do think this one needs something in order to get moving. Then again, dropping onto the daily time frame, guys, I'm already very tired of breaking this structure down. It's been quite a few weeks, as I tell you, like around 6 weeks, that we made this daily break to the downside, pull back into daily supply, tried to push down, failed, pull back again, and right now we're chopping again for 10 days. Okay, so if you're trading Euro Yen, it's not a good time to trade Euro Yen, right? It's very cleanly in a daily consolidation, right? And still on the daily, this is the major lower high, this is the major lower low. We're still bearish until we break above this, and then maybe then we start rolling bullish, right? So really, if you want to go long on this one in terms of macro perspective, I have to see this one to get broken. Okay, and then as this breaks, then we can start looking for something like this. Okay, and currently also the 4-hourly time frame is also absolutely tricky. Why? Because the 4-hourly push starts from here and it ends right there, according to me, right? Some of you can say like, oh, this was a lower high, this was a lower high, maybe even this was a lower high. Not to me, right? So to me, this precisely this right there is the 4-hourly lower high, and it hasn't been broken. And again, so what this tells me is that this is the major push. All of that is internal. So you cannot do like break a structure down, up, down, up, down. No, this is all internal of this high and this low. Okay. So pretty much this makes it pretty much absolutely, well, not impossible, but you're just trading minor structure and then you get stuck in this range, not knowing what is happening. Okay. So again, very big range, manipulated to the downside, manipulated to the upside. What is going to happen next week? I don't know. Right. So if you are just trading this pair, the JPY, go look for another one, right? Or just don't trade at all. So I'm not going to be throwing any forecast because again, JPY pairs have been really tough to figure out. And again, I just don't know what to say on this, right? So again, waiting, hopefully, if we're going to have some bullishness for us to break this high, because if we break this high, then I can say, okay, 4-hourly is bullish, then we can start following the trend. Okay. So that's pretty much Euro Yen. Right, that's Euro Yen. Nothing much to say. We are still bearish, kind of. We're still bearish on the no, weekly is actually bullish because the weekly higher low is this, right? So weekly is bullish, monthly is bullish. If the daily and the 4-hourly turn bullish, then I think we can get a high probability long kind of market. So let's hope this happens, but first we need to break above this. Okay, if not, we are still stuck in this range and there is nothing much we can do in that range. So let's wait for it. Next on the list are the Aussies. Let's have a look what is happening right here. So again, monthly time frame, I personally have only rules for the 4-hourly and the 15-minute, right? And the 1 minute, of course. How do I really look at structure there, right? I have very specific rules for that. But here we had a break of structure up, which pretty much made a trend change on the monthly. There we have a break of structure up, creating a new higher high. This was the major higher low formation, which got broken right here. Then if we ask the question, okay, what caused the break? This is a little bit tricky, right? So is this our major lower high right now on the monthly? Is it this right there, right? Or is it even this, right? So this is all up to you to interpret, right, what is happening. And there are a couple of rules, like for example, this could be valid. So if this is valid, then we have a new break of structure down, which then makes this a valid lower high, and this lower high was broken. So then we can say that the monthly time frame is turning bullish, but it's just if you have like one candle of pullback. If you want two, and there are the last two candles of pullback, then this is the major lower high, and then we can draw our range like this, still being above 50%. Okay, so slightly bit debatable for me to say, okay, the monthly is bearish or the monthly is turning bullish, right? So again, keep in mind, we came to retest like a very important region right there. I think that was the COVID crash right there. So we came in, retested it. And then if you just look at more like a swing structure, which if you join my team, you're going to have to stop looking at that structure like this, right? We don't look at structure like this. We're focusing on the most recent precise market structure formations, right? But if you look at it as from a swing structure like this, then yeah, it pulled back below 50%. Right now it could start to head higher. Right? But then if you actually are zoomed in and looking at all of those minor formations right there, then you can look at it like this, or you can even say that this is a break of structure up and that the monthly is turning bullish. Okay, so I leave this to you to interpret and to draw your conclusion. We have been looking at this supply zone for a while. It finally got broken, right? So pretty much this to me also makes the weekly time frame bullish, because this to me was the weekly lower high and it got kind of broken by a wick. Then just above it, there is one more supply zone that could be used as a reaction. But then I'm going to say right now that the weekly is bullish. And if I zoom in, this is going to be my weekly higher low formation, right? And yeah, so this is how I look at the weekly right now, but we're having a very massive bearish engulfing candle, suggesting a lot of bearish pressure. So I'm not kind of omitting the fact that this market could definitely plummet down with the overall kind of bullish Dixie. And if EU starts going down, this one will definitely follow. So Aussie dollar was also a little bit tough to trade, although it was pretty nicely trending. Like Aussie dollar tends to do moves like this to scare us out, like it usually doesn't. Like look at that massive push, goes up, massive drop, goes up, massive drop, goes up, right? Tends to do those, right? It did it here as well, massive drop, and then still ended up going up, right? To take out the liquidity, to tap inside this zone, right? And right now we're massively going down. So if we just again focus on the 4-hourly time frame, yeah, this to me is gonna be the trend change right there. And then what caused the trend change? Well, pretty much it's this high, right? So unlike EU, like if you remember, EU had a little bit in the middle, yeah, candle like this. Aussie dollar does not have it. So Aussie dollar, this is the whole range, right? It starts from the upside. Like you can take it like this if you wish. You can do it like this if you wish. You can like start looking at the different time frames like that to find a good candle. But pretty much what I think is gonna happen is we're just gonna have a little pullback right there, and then it's gonna continue going down. So don't expect this, right? Please, this is probably not gonna happen. If the market did like this liquidation up, if it's ready to go down, it's just gonna continue rolling down. So again, for next week, similar to what I said on EU, focus on just catching those continuations to the downside and don't expect big pullbacks. Okay, so just zoom in. Hopefully we can see 1 or 2 4-hourly pullback candles so that we can form actually a valid range. Then the 50-minute can turn bullish, and then as the 50-minute turns bearish, then we can start following the trend down. Okay, so I am bearish right now on Aussie dollar, and yeah, we can go bearish all the way until like this zone right there. So let's see how this one is gonna play out. Stay tuned for Monday, and again, just make sure to follow the flow. And going to AJ, I'm really not excited for this because the JPYs are a mess. Like, yeah, this is bullish on the monthly. Like, it really depends though, because you can look at this as a breakout structure right there, and then you can look at this as a break structure down. This is according to my rules, but if you look more at the swing structure, then you're gonna say this 50% pullback, we're going higher. Okay, so if you want my opinion, actually on the monthly time frame here, we have 2 candles of pullback, broke them down, and then broke it up, then broke it down. And then we can take a monthly zone like this. It's not very clean. Maybe we can try to refine it on the weekly. But I can say that the monthly is kind of short-term turning a little bit bearish. But again, I do not exclude also the swing possibility, which has an origin right there, 83. Okay, but if we travel all the way towards 84, 85, then that's a lot of pips. So we can still capitalize on some shorts. Then transferring onto the weekly kind of resembles what I did on the monthly, right? This is the push, this is the pullback, we're tapping into this zone, we're having an inside bar actually, so that's not very nice. But again, this is why you should not really trade JPYs way too much right now. So then going on to the daily time frame, yeah, daily is still bearish. Again, this is the high on the daily, this is the low, right? So this is pretty much the origin of where all the moves started. All of this is internal. All of this, we came all the way up to retest the lower high supply on the daily, and right now we're starting to reject, right? So weekly and monthly supply, daily supply in a daily bearish market, and right now the 4-hourly time frame is potentially also turning bearish. So what I can say is that I'm really getting a bearish vibe on AJ, right? So the 4-hourly time frame shifted right there. That's our 4-hourly trend change. This is what caused the trend change. 1 test, 2 tests, it went. So hopefully it took some shorts from here. There is the last break of structure. What caused the last break of structure? Where it's pretty much this guy right there, right? We already pulled back into 50% and we're already rejecting. Okay, so I see 2 things on this one. This one either starts like on Monday, maybe gives a little pullback and drops. Maybe it's gonna pull back to here. I don't think so, because if we open with some massive momentum, I do think like a very potential outcome is this, right? We just dropped to the downside. So I will be looking for this level, which is like the inside bar on the weekly time frame, right? So I am bearish on AJ, I am bearish on AU, bearish bias on both pairs. This one actually looks good in terms of structure, right? Did very nicely, bearish on the daily, aligned bearish on the 4H, provided 2 shorts right there. Looks good. Let me know, guys, if you caught some short trade on AJ. Let's have a look how the NZDs are doing. We have very similar structure on the NZDs from the one we have on the Aussies, right? So here we had a monthly reversal. There we have a monthly structure break. Then we have potentially a bearish monthly reversal. Then the question is, right, is this our major lower high right now, or do we also count right there? Well, this is definitely not, but this here is a pullback. If you count one candle of pullback, then yes, you can say that this is a bullish reversal. But to me, like, I would say this is more bearish than bullish, right? But it's really, again, depending on how you look at a market structure. And if you consider this to be a lower high to be broken, or do you still consider this to be the major lower high? Okay. We're definitely having like a 50% pullback, right? But then you can also look at it like this, right? For it to create a bearish pullback and then continue going up. If this is a monthly break. So again, guys, I leave this to you, right? I honestly do not have rules for the monthly time frame, right? On the 40 time frame, we do, but for the monthly, not really. So I would actually stick to the more conservative way, which is like this. So I'm gonna say that this one is overall bearish, but if I do this, then we can also say that the Aussie dollar is also bearish, right? So just keep those little details in mind. Dropping onto the weekly turned bullish right there, way before the Aussie did, turned bullish, pull back, higher low, higher high, right? So it already has 2 weekly higher highs. The Aussie is just breaking, right? This is the weekly demand, right? And a massive engulfing candle coming into this demand. So again, I do not exclude the fact that we are pulling back very nicely in the monthly time frame, 50%, and we can start dropping down, right? The most recent momentum is bullish. So what I say is that I'm overall bullish on the NZD, right? But again, not excluding the fact that we can be reversing. So here, for example, on the daily, we had a whole big period of chop, and this was like the daily higher low. It came in, reacted, and took out the high, right? So that is pretty good. But as we took out the high, we then created a new higher low, which is here. So right now, the daily time frame is shifting down with a supply being here. And then this actually also shifts the 4-hourly as well, right? So it's pretty much exactly the same, although that on the 4-hourly, yeah, let's just keep it like that. And we're tapping inside this demand zone right there. But again, don't try to like catch some longs from here. This is a very big zone. Like it's taking lots of liquidity right there, right? This is the last one that we're about to be taking, probably very soon. So what I'm going to be looking for is I'm just going to be looking for continuations down. Okay, I want to follow the 40 time frame, but again, being aware of those little details that we covered on the macro time frames. Okay, so very similar to the Aussies, to the Euro as well. I would either expect like the markets continue going down and then to initiate like a little pullback so we can continue following it. Or if on the open, it starts with a pullback, that's going to be even better to focus on shorts. And pretty much that's it, right? I do not expect it to pull back all the way up here. If it goes all the way up here, then something is wrong. It might start turning bullish. Because with this kind of accumulation, right, and the manipulation above and then the massive expansion lower, if the market comes all the way up, yeah, I don't think this is logical to happen. And if it does, then we can potentially start looking for longs, okay? So it's going to be very important to be monitoring right now the lower time frames, right, to potentially start expecting a pullback and then jumping on the continuation. So again, keeping it very simple, like without even all the details on monthly, weekly, and daily. 4-hourly is bearish, so I'm bearish bias looking for shorts on NU, but of course being aware where we are and how the macro timeframes are looking like. NJ, I would hate to look at this again because it's, yeah, you know what it is. So kind of the monthly is bullish. We pushed, we pull back here. This candle took the high, but then massively rejected. Then we come in again and make a new monthly higher high, which makes then technically this kind of the monthly higher low formation. Very not nice, right? So yeah, we're tapping inside this guy, but let's just be objective, right? It's a range, and it's a monthly / weekly range, and you really don't want to be trading inside this, okay? But then if you really zoom in, right, we had a break here. What caused the break? Well, you can either say it's this or you can either say it's this, right? Both of those got broken, which means that the weekly time frame shifted to bearish, right? This is the weekly supply, right? Here we don't have anything like any breaks of structure. This is not valid. And the range we're trading into right now is this, and we're already above 50%, 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks, and just right now we're creating a little bearish engulf. Okay, so even though the monthly is bullish, weekly is giving me a bearish vibe a little bit, and then daily is that same choppy structure we have on all JPYs, right? This is the daily supply. This is the daily breakup structure right there. The market came in, tried to push, failed, came in, tried to push, failed, came in, and it's trying to push right now. So weekly consolidation, daily consolidation, not good. Okay, so definitely guys, AJ and NJ, not good. I think only, no, Euro Yen as well. Like, wasn't there? Oh yeah, AJ is the one that looks a little bit better, right? But again, I'm just gonna say that the NJ, the JPYs are a no-go for me right now. So yeah, then if I go to the 4-hourly time frame, this one had a little bit more of a detail because this one actually shifted bullish here. It had a valid range here, right? And then it made a high, higher low, higher high. Then it broke down here. Then it broke up here. Then it broke down. Or did it? No, it was then technically bullish, depending on how you look at structure. Pullback, higher low. Then it went up, made a higher high, right? Then what caused the higher high? Tough question. Yeah, very tough question. So we're actually still trading, according to me. No, I'm wrong, because there is another break. So here we have a pullback, then we have a wick break here, which then we have a bearish break here, and then you can immediately look to short from there. Like, look at that. So look at that little bearish candle right there. We're tapped inside, lower low, right? Then this becomes our major supply and it gets respected. So 1 tap, 2 tap, 3 tap, went down, break structure down right there. What caused the break? It was this. Then you take a short from here, lower low, and then we pull back into that same area. And then we push lower. So yeah, you can see this one is a very tough. It has like a little bit of development around right there. And what I'm gonna say is that, again, similar to the other JPYs, I'm overall bearish, but it's just very hard to trade. Okay, so I would just say leave this one for a while, especially with this piece of price action right there. Like wick down, wick up, wick up. It's not nice. It's not good to trade. So I'm just gonna give it some time. Let it maybe make a clean lower low, clean lower high to actually see it's trending down, right? Or make it push up. I don't know. I'm not trading those JPY pairs right now. So again, guys, be careful. Wait for some kind of better structure to occur, all right? All right, let's have a look at the USD JPY on the monthly time frame. Again, this is going like a rocket to the upside, right? Quite some time of pushing up, and right now we're having like a very nice correction. Like we had 2 months of massive bearishness. January was an overall indecision candle. You can see February starting a little bit bullish. So once again, we got to figure out, okay, does the range start from here? And if it starts from there, we just kind of came on the 50%. But I would actually say, if you look closely, here you have a valid pullback, here you have a valid pullback, right? So overall, the range does not start from here. According to me, it starts from here or here, right? So we are definitely pulling back below the 50%. And what we have is a little bit of a base demand, right? So this is a rally, base rally, right? It's a very strong demand, just accumulated right there and then just came in and starts rejecting. So we can start having a little bit of bullishness right there. If I drop on the weekly time frame, the weekly is still bearish, right? And according to me, this is what caused like the last weekly bearish break. And here, not really. Okay, so according to me, this is still the weekly supply in terms of like valid structure to me. So yeah, what we can expect if you're really looking at it from a macro perspective, something like this could happen. Although I don't expect it as much, but this is kind of how I see it. If this one just does not start going higher. Okay, so really depends. Then dropping onto the daily time frame, well, similar to all the JPY pairs, they're all chopping around right now. Like this is the last, well, UJ actually made a move down. So after we broke structure here, it pulled back, actually took out the high and then made the low while all the JPY pairs were consolidating. And right now, this is the major daily lower high formation. The market came in, rejected, and then we have like an overall 17 days of consolidation. Friday NFP gave us this very bullish push. So right now, the big question is this level gonna hold or is it gonna break? Okay, so this is potentially gonna be utilized as liquidity. So watch out for this one to be broken, potentially. So yeah, like you can see actually here, this is like the push up. This is where we broke structure down. And as I said in the previous weekly outlook, this is like the supply that we were trading inside. And nothing happened, like a whole week and even 2 weeks of just chop, right? We never broke the major low, right? And we never broke the major high. But right now, looking at the bullish momentum, I do think we're coming in to break out this high, right? But then again, for me, it's very hard to say what happens afterwards, right? So this is again outside of our control. Nobody knows, right? So let's just flow with the market. Let's see what happens. I'm very curious to see if this one breaks. Then this is going to turn the 4-hourly time frame to bullish. And then we can continue like looking for longs as long as the momentum persists. And if we start having like a nice rejection that then shifts the 4-hourly structure, then we can also look for shorts, because again, the daily and the weekly are still bearish, right? So let's see. Okay, so let me know, guys, in the comments, what do you think about UJ? How do you see it developing? Do you think we're going to go lower, or do you think it's going to pick up on the vibe of the Dixie and start pushing higher, right? Let me know. I currently have no opinion, so just looking to see what's going to happen. And this is why I think it's not a good time to be trading the JPY pairs, because also UJ is kind of chopping around. So waiting for some clean price action on all the JPYs. Let's have a look at the UCAT. So when you look at UCAT like this from a zoom out perspective, like it looks like an overall range, right? And then this is pretty much what usually currencies do, right? They're not like stocks to go up forever, right? With some little crashes here and there, but they overall oscillate from like specific key levels and they don't move as much, right? So then when you zoom in, like it's very important here again to have your market structure figured out, because there are a lot of variables inside all of that price action right there, right? So here we have a break, then here we have a break. If you think this is a valid one, there have a break lower again, then we have a break higher, then we have a break lower. And then the question is coming in here, right? Is this the major lower high, or is this the major lower high? This one is not 100% sure. This one is not. What do we have here is a bullish candle, right? Then one more candle stays right there in the range, and then we push lower, right? So this is an overall kind of a 1/2 candles of pullback. So this could definitely be the valid one, but of course we should not exclude this high as well. Okay, so again, similar to like what we have across all monthly time frames right now, is a little bit of a kind of a little bit of details, because this can be a monthly break, but still this could still be the monthly range as well, right? So keep those in mind, and again, make a decision. Again, this is 50-50. It really depends how systematic you are with your market structure. And again, I do not trade the monthly, so I really don't know. According to my rules, I haven't backtested enough to prove like what works best on UCAT. If this is the lower high that caused then this break, right? Or is it still like this big buy to sell? Okay, because then if this is the break, then we are currently bullish on the monthly, and we're currently in a little pullback, so we can continue going higher. Does this make sense? Again, according to the interest rates, not as much, because if we actually go to take a very quick peek right there, you can see that the Canadian rate is 4.5, and then the American is 4.75. So yeah, the American has a little bit of a higher, but the Canadian is also hiking it pretty nicely as well, right? So there is a little bit of there is not enough of a difference right there in order to really make one of those currencies stronger than the other. Weekly time frame though is bullish, 100%, right? This is a demand zone that we are currently looking to tap, and actually this is not valid, right? This is, to me, this is the valid higher low, right? So this is my major higher low in terms of the weekly time frame, but this is a very strong base demand. We came in, we didn't tap it, tried to push, failed. This is why I think I've been calling this one for quite a few weeks right now. I think that this one is gonna get taken out, right? Then dropping onto the daily time frame. Daily is overall, you can see sliding down with some spikes here and there. Not the best, according to me, not the best daily structure. Like we broke down here, but then we kind of wicked up, and then we immediately went down again. So not a big fan of it, but still I'm gonna take this wick, which is probably gonna be our, well, no, it's not. It's kind of a daily zone, but if you look closely, the 4-hourly time frame broke structure down right there, and then it broke structure up right there. So again, you can see the 4-hourly right now is technically bullish, but the daily looks like it's still bearish. Okay, so I'm not loving UCAT right now. You can see like it's stacked right there. It went down, it went up, then it went down again. So definitely textbook overall manipulation, stacking of the BFI orders. And right now, I just don't know what to expect, right? So I'm overall, if I just look at the hourly time frame, well, I'm bullish, right? I'm bullish, and this here is my major high low formation, right? It already threw a little bit of a rejection, right? A little bit of pullback right there, and right now it's just kind of making this consolidation. So really, guys, honestly, I don't know what to expect on UCAT, so I just have to give it some time if I was trading the pair. Okay, so let me know if you guys are trading UCAT. What do you expect? Do you think we go down? I really think, but again, it's not about what I think. I just constantly try to keep myself accountable. It's not about what you think or what you think should happen or what you like what needs to happen. This is wrong language. We don't know, right? So we just gotta be in the present moment and reacting to what is happening right now. But again, if I am to throw a little bit of a forecast, well, then again, to me, the 4 hourly is bullish. So I'm going to be looking for longs, like some sort of a pullback and then continuation higher. Because as long as the market stays above this, then I am bullish on the 4H. Okay, so I'm overall bullish on UCAT. Let's see how it plays out. But if the USD starts to get bullish as well, then the USD CAT as a pair will struggle to pick a direction, and we might enter like an overall consolidation. You can see it has been like this for a while. Range, little manipulation, back into the range, manipulation down, manipulation up, right? It's a whole kind of a big range that is happening right there. So let me know if you're trading UCAT. What are you looking at? Very curious to hear. All right, next on the list are the GBPs. Let's have a look here. The monthly time frame, at least it's very simple, right? I'm just gonna say that this is my monthly high, this is my monthly low, and we are above 50%. Again, you can like try to utilize these base approach in terms of supply and demand. Like here we have a drop, then the market found like a base with this candle and then continued to drop. So this could be a very strong supply level to trade off of. 1.24 is the key level that is within right there. We already took some liquidity above this high, and we're already seeing like a little rejection. Then January was kind of bullish, but not really bullish at the same time. And right now you can see it's only the first week of February, but we're already having a very nice sharp push to the downside. So this gives me an overall bearish vibe. In terms of the weekly time frame though, it's still bullish. Yeah, well, again, guys, according to me, wicks are breaks, and even though we like had a little like probably a couple of pips break, I'd still count it as a break. And again, we're going to know if it's a liquidity gap when we break below this low right there. So currently, yeah, the weekly is tapping inside. This really looks like another pair that the weekly was too bullish, but it just looks like it's going to break down, right? And then again, if the weekly is bullish, I do think though that the hourly and the daily are definitely potentially going to be bearish. And yes, they are. Like if you actually have a look, okay, where is my daily structure? The daily structure broke here, then broke up here, then broke up here. This is not valid. And this is also not valid. So yeah, pretty much the daily structure, according to me, guys, it changes right there. Daily structure changes right there. And then if I drop on the 4H has definitely shifted here, and then it chopped around, and right now it's massively dropping lower. So not one of the cleanest pairs, like in terms of alignment, like on the weekly, on the daily. But again, we're tapping in a monthly zone. The weekly is still bullish, but it can turn anytime soon. Daily is bearish and hourly is bearish as well. I do think enough of accumulation or distribution happened right there, and right now the market is just very simply bearish. This is the last break right there, and this is a very nice base supply, similar to what we have on EU. So yeah, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna try to follow the bearish bias, right? We're tapping inside this very big zone, so we can definitely have a reaction from here. So hopefully the reaction gives us a lower high formation like this, so then we can continue to make new lower lows. Okay, so bearish on the on GU as I am bearish like on AU, bearish on EU, bearish on like the all those XXX USD pairs, right? So let's see how that is gonna go. Very important to have a look at how Monday is gonna open, what structure we're gonna have, and then potentially try to flow with the market. GJ monthly time frame, again, it's a JPY pair, so I'm not very excited for that, but the monthly time frame is still bullish. There is our break, there is our demand zone right there, tapping inside right now. Weekly is also bullish according to me, slightly bit debatable whether this is a higher low formation that actually caused the break, right? So this depends on how you look at structure, because again, here this looks like a very nice flip zone. So this is when you have supply, the market comes in, reacts, and then breaks it, right? And then this turns into demand, and as you can see, the market responded from it for quite a couple of weeks, right? So 35 days of response, and then it actually broke. Okay, so once again, guys, I leave this interpretation to you. Can I refine this? Yeah, I can actually refine this to the wick. But again, so weekly time frame, I can say that it's actually bearish right now, right? But then if you drop to the daily, this is where the problem comes in, right? So this is a JPY pair, and you know what's happening on the JPY pairs. They all have this daily push, and they're all staying in this daily range for quite a while. They pull back, tried to push, failed, came in again, tried to push, failed, came in again, and right now trying to push down again, right? The important thing then right now is if, for example, the daily is bearish, and maybe even if the weekly is bearish, okay, is the forward going to give us a setup? Well, yes, because here, like here we had a bullish push. So this is a bullish high, then we have a low, then yeah, spikes up. It's, you really have to zoom in and identify this structure right there. So here we had a break down, break up, break down right there, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. So we are definitely bearish, and we just saw what is our last lower high. It's precisely right there. We can take it like this whole range like this, and we're already creating a pullback. So again, some of the JPYs like AJ, for example, even NJ, they look like shorts, and GJ also looks like shorts, right? G also looks like short. So I do think like overall the GBP pairs are gonna be short biased. We're already above the 50% in terms of the hourly leg. So what you have to do right now is wait for a 15-minute alignment. Yeah, this equals right there. No, it's not. So you can already maybe this is not something that I like, but this is technically like a potential reversal that we had, like in order to pull back, in order to respond it. Not my favorite kind of formation right there. But yeah, so what I see happening is the market kind of pulling back to here and then rejecting. But if it does not, I would much love to see it here. Change on the 15-minute and then potentially give us a short. So that's my outlook on GJ. I usually don't go on the 15-minute on Sunday and Saturday, right? Because you just don't know what's going to happen. But I'm bearish biased. This is my major lower high formation. So as long as we stay below, we're bearish. Let's see how it's going to play out. Let me know, guys, if you're also looking for shorts. Let's have a look at gold. So we're having a very interesting situation right there. We went all the way from 1615 to all the way 1960. So that is a very, very big, you can see 21% increase. So that's pretty good. That's a very good result on gold. If you also look at it from an investment perspective, that will be a very good time to offload some of the position, right? This month already, the first week of the month starts with a very nice bearish reaction, but again, we are overall bullish on the monthly time frame. You know that like this is the overall macro push, although like currently we can tweak it a little bit. I think this is the 3 monthly push. Yeah, this is the quarterly push, right? 15% pullback. Then if you actually want the monthly one starts from here. Right, so we're definitely pulling back in discount on both of those macro time frames, and we already had a beautiful reaction. So I do think we can have maybe a month right now of bearishness, like of a reaction, because right now the dollar is potentially gonna get strong, and you know when the dollar gets strong, gold usually tends to fall, because usually gold is measured right now against the US dollar. So we can see on the weekly time frame we had 2 weeks of overall kind of a little bit of a consolidation, I would say, and this week is just like took out the high and then just massive plummet to the downside. Okay, so this gives me a lot of bearish vibes. And also if you have a look on the daily, here we had a beautiful uptrend, right? And right now we have a break of the high, and right now we have a break of the low, aligning this market structure to bearish on the daily. Okay, so that's pretty important. Like we have a daily reversal, so that's that's very major. And then when we go back to the 40 time frame, again we had this overall kind of range. You can see like the most recent overall consolidation was looking like this. We took out the low, we took out the high, and then we went down. And even if you zoom in, like here there was another range, we took out the high, right, then took out the low of it, took out the high again, and then we went down. So there was a very nice distribution phase going on. I still have to watch a couple of videos on Wyckoff to learn how to identify that. But yes, daily is bearish, 4-hourly is bearish. This is the 4-hourly lower high formation, the major one for me. But what I would expect, again, as with all the other pairs that we just covered, is that don't expect this. expect a little bit of a pullback, roughly 30%, and then start looking for the shorts, and hopefully we can follow the trend to the downside. So I am also bearish on gold, as I'm bearish on EU, AU, GU, NU, all those pairs that are trading against the USD. So hopefully if the dollar continues to increase as well, then of course all the other pairs are going to drop and gold is going to drop together with them. Okay, so can we have like an overall pullback of this very recent range? Definitely possible. We can come in, like position ourselves within this sort of range. Like there was an interesting with this fixed volume profile too. You can grab it and then you can see like this is the overall range right there that all the orders were stacked. So I would expect like for the market to pull us back around these kind of areas before we start thinking for potential longs. So again, right now on the short term, focus on the shorts. Let's see if we can catch some, and let me know if you guys are also short bias on gold. All right, let's have a look at the indices. Very interesting situation right there. I really don't know what to expect. I'm also very curious. So sitting on the, let's actually jump on the quarterly time frame. Right, on the quarterly time frame, we have this overall push, and still we have space to travel towards the 50%. What I immediately spot is that we have these kind of wicks right there, which we're potentially going to be seeing on the monthly as a potential demand zone. So there it is, right? We came in, we tapped it, and then we actually looks like we aligned bullish on the monthly, right? So there is a monthly breakdown and there is a monthly break up, right? So the monthly time frame to me is technically bullish right now. Is this crash, what we call crash or recession, over? Well, again, hard for me to answer. I'm not that experienced in like fundamental outlooks and analysis, but again, since we tapped right here on US 30, we have been trending up for a while, and right now it has been a couple of weeks that we are chopping around this sort of area right there, right? So if I really zoom in on the weekly right now, well, a little bit tough because we have this huge wick right there taking out the highs. This one is not a valid range, and according to me, this is still the range that we're trading inside, right? Which makes it a little bit tough because in order for me to turn bearish on the weekly, we're going to need to have a break up and then a breakdown and then potentially say, yes, we're bearish. According to me right now, US 30 is still bullish. And actually, we also have a monthly kind of a bullish response, right? So very interesting situation. Dropping onto the daily time frame is bearish and we're still trading within this range, right? So here the daily took out the high and then it took out the low, and all of this is internal. We came in, reacted, failed to push lower. This is why I think we should be taking out this high, maybe even this high. But yeah, it's still ranging, and I was quite surprised that this week was rather choppy with all the news releases, with NFP, with unemployment, with everything. US 30 did not bother to move much, right? So it was actually bullish. Yeah, right here it was bullish. We had demand, made a new high. We had another demand, right? And right now it's actually pretty much respecting this demand, but it's kind of struggling to do something. So as we're going to go have a look at NASDAQ and S&P, they are already making some highs. So I would expect US 30 to maybe give us a little bit of a pump to the upside, to come and retest those areas, take out this high, take out this high right there, and then to potentially see the drop. So again, I'm not excluding that a crash is incoming, but of course, let's see, as the market goes up, then we have to go up with the market. There weren't any kind of textbook setups this week on US 30. Like we had 2 days that were stuck in this range because pretty much the 50-minute range is the same as the 4-hourly range, right? This is the low, this is the high on the 50-minute, and this is the low, and this is the high on the 4-hourly time frame. So we just don't trade inside this. So pretty much 2 days without trades on US 30, and then the other days were also not great for trading. So a pretty boring week in terms of US 30. So again, I'm currently looking for longs as long as we stay above this zone. If we break below this zone, then I'm going to turn shorts and try to short it. But again, yeah, a little bit tough right now because, as I said, the 50-minute range is the same as the 4-hourly range. So I would much prefer to just wait for this to break, right? For all of these levels to break and then look for something, or maybe break down and then look for something. I am not trading here in the middle, right? Look at this. NASDAQ, very optimistic, very positive. Like look at the weekly candle, look at the monthly engulfing candle right there. Well, not engulfing, but rather bullish. Still, like the monthly looks a little bit bearish, right? This is the last monthly break right here. This is like the last monthly supply that we're tapping inside right now. Weekly time frame is bearish. Yeah, weekly. So the monthly and the weekly are the same, This is the weekly leg. This is not valid. This is not valid as well. So according to me, weekly high, weekly low, monthly high, monthly low. So very bearish, right? Came in and grabbed this as liquidity, which is very good, right? And right now we are about to see what is gonna happen. I am very curious to see if this kind of is short-term optimism, and are we gonna start dipping below right now, or are we just gonna continue pushing up? The daily time frame is bullish. This is the most recent daily demand zone. The 40 time frame is also bullish, and it's the same zone that we have on the daily, that is also on the 40 time frame. If the 40 time frame breaks up, then we can start having more recent structure to play with, right? But right now, as I keep saying, I'm not trading Nasdaq. I'm only trading US30 right now, and really looking forward to see what's gonna happen on this. Currently bullish on the daily, bullish on the 40 time frame, but we're tapping into very major areas on the monthly and the weekly, right? So looking forward for that daily and 40 time frame to align bearish, so then we can start seeing some shorts. I don't want to be calling shorts, but again, I still think we could definitely dip below. Monthly time frame on S&P was an inside bar, and we're already coming in and taking the mother candle high. So that could potentially signify a bullish push, or it could also be used as liquidity grab. We don't know, okay? But overall, I see this kind of as this is more internal structure. Like here, it also depends if you're gonna take this as a monthly reversal. I personally would not, right? So still the monthly higher low looks like it's here, right? So we're still bullish on the monthly, and this is the quarterly push, pulling back 50%, tapping 35 and reacting from it, right? So the question is, are we gonna have another drop? That is the question. I don't think the stock market and then also people have experienced enough pain so far, like to even call it a recession. Inflation is pretty good. Like we're spotting everything is starting to get an increase in prices and everything as well. So I do think we can definitely have a push to the downside. Is it going to go below 35? We don't know, right? So weekly is bearish, coming inside the zone, taking lots of liquidity. The daily, similar to Nasdaq, is still bullish. This is our major higher low formation. And also the 40 time frame is also bullish, very similar to Nasdaq. So again, I want to immediately take you to this. Extreme Greed 76. We haven't been here for a very long time, right? And you can see it definitely looks like a reversal right now. Breaking about 125 day. I usually use the 200, much better, right? Retested it from the other side and already making high highs, right? Extreme Greed, we haven't been here for a long time, right? You can see it's off the charts, right? So very curious to see what's gonna happen, like climbing all the way above 79. So on the February 2nd, we were at 79. We haven't been here for a pretty long time. Okay, so I would expect for us to have a dip, right? But how big that dip is gonna be? Is it just gonna like throw a little bit of a short-term pullback and then continue the bullish push? We don't know. So if any of you like has any kind of outlooks, macro outlooks on the indices, let me know down in the comments. I'm very curious to learn more from you, right? And let's see what's gonna happen. But I'm mainly focused on trading US30 right now. It works great with our strategy, so we're definitely adding it to the arsenal as we do with gold as well. Indices, again, with this short-term kind of reversal, monthly time frame is, yeah, well, monthly time frame, the major lower high on the monthly is still this, so we're still bearish on the monthly. The weekly is though bullish, right? Daily, after like we pushed from here, we chopped around, we pushed up again, so we have been chopping around, and this is usually what happens with crypto, right? It chops around and it massively impulses, chops around, massively impulses right now. So I'm not trading this, right? And I just don't know what to expect right now. Is this a reversal, or are we just like a short-term push in order for the drop to happen again? I don't know. Again, I asked a couple of times, do you guys trade crypto? Do you look at it? I did receive no response. I'm really not going to go in depth about it. Ethereum as well. So Ethereum on the monthly time frame is, yeah, well, it's bearish, right? This is the major monthly lower high. This is also the major weekly lower high. So that's definitely bearish, but it has been kind of stacking up here for a long time. And we kind of broke this descending trend line. So I know a lot of traders right now are going to be looking for this to happen, right? And usually when a lot of traders look for something to happen, the opposite happens, right? Daily time frame push pullback, tapped inside, already made a new high. So Ethereum is performing a bit better than Bitcoin, right? You can see tap once, 2, 3, 4 times tap, but then at the end of the day, it ended up pushing higher. right? And if you really look at it short term right now, I would say we have a very short term flow out of reversal, so we can look for the shorts. But again, I am not trading this, and I don't know if you guys are trading it, so yeah, I'm not really gonna go much in depth about that. And yeah, it's time to close this weekly outlook, right? I think we have very interesting situation for next week with this current momentum that is going on. The indices, I'm very curious to see how they're going to respond as well. And yeah, the dollar is definitely going to turn bullish, so hopefully we can capitalize on some momentum trades. Guys, I wish you an amazing weekend. If you're watching this on the weekend, I wish you a crushing week ahead of you. February is opening. Let's get into the zone. Let's crush it, and see you on Tuesday for our live stream.